Three, two, one. What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, March 13th. Is that the right day? It's
Yep.
hard to keep track. I've been a little under the weather, so forgive me tonight if I sound off, but I'm here. Show must go on. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, the real Dr. Vankman, RDV. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. You're under two types of weather, rain and being sick.
Yeah,
How about you?
it's been rainy here the past several weeks.
Do you hear the frogs outside?
Mm-mm. There's no frogs around here.
Oh, the seagulls probably ate them.
Probably. Um, but we are here, and yeah, we're going to talk about some comics. It's a late night comic show for those of you that might be here for the first time. It's just kind of it's a non-scripted stream where RDB and I we get together every Monday night or try to, and we talk about comics. We kind of go over, review, or recap some of the books we're reading. Tonight we're featuring Torrent #1 and Blood Tree #2. If you haven't been reading those, well, maybe this will incline you to read them, or it will steer you away. One of the two. But before we get into all of that, what what in the world of comic bookdom, geek lore stuff has excited you this past week?
Well, that's an easy answer. I've been reading Criminal.
Mm. Oh, that got my attention. Yeah, which
Yeah,
ones did you read?
I read the first 12 of the
Oh, that first
2016.
trade.
First trade is awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
yeah, I guess, dude, it's like I say, I like Guggenheim, and I've been liking this story they would do with this. I love crime stuff, as far as so. Is like I said, as long as the next couple volumes, are similar stories. Although the one thing I hate about is when you get attached to a character and then they switch it to a different character. It's just like, no, I just want more of that character. Like
Well,
I love
you're gonna need to pull your britches up with Ed Brubaker because he does not do that.
I know I love Tracy in the second story, and I love the guy from the first issue in our first story. I'm like, yeah, it is
The
just
cool things is like a lot of the side characters that'll get introduced in his stories will
yeah,
kind of
pop
get a
up in other ones.
spotlight on them. So
Yeah.
a character that might be real minor in one book, and later on he might get his own whole story because this world of criminal, this city that it takes it's all the same place. So these characters interact.
Yep, I'm just waiting for the epilepsy guy, seizure guy, have his own side story. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Uh I
Well,
get the thing
cool.
is that what was option was criminal was option, right?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly I could see them doing either one of those first stories. Either with Tracy getting revenge for his brother being killed, becoming the driver, working his way in. Like I can see that being like a story. Uh and what was the other one? The very first one, I'm trying to remember what his name is, but the guy basically he got away with it. He's a smart guy. He's always had an exit plan, and yeah, it's just like he's always, it's just like I could see that guy, doing a story like that. And like I said, I would have Donald Luge, the guy who played Harvey Bullock in Gotham, play that character the very first series.
Yeah, I would love to see Criminal done where maybe they devoted, if not an entire season, maybe like half of a season or to an entire like story, you know,
Season
rather
one,
than
just
just
one character. Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
want.
just like that character story, just like they do in the trades. Like here's a whole trade, it's this guy, and then the next one's this guy or whatever, and each season they did that HBO crime series, True Crime, which I've been wanting to see and I just never have, kind of worked that way. And it's tough because fans like to see their favorite, if they have favorite actors or character, they like to see it
Yeah,
continue. So the idea of like doing it and then like here's a whole new cast, you're like, oh man, I don't like these guys. I don't know these guys. I want the old guys.
yeah. It's just been I said it's been a fun trip, man. Reading it, going through. I Now I don't know about Fatale and a lot of the other ones, but like Criminal, man, I it just they're just fun and they're quick reads. They're not like like they're not overly where like like there's hidden meanings and stuff. Those books are not really deep,
Right.
but they're deep enough to where you go through it and it just reads like I'm watching a TV series. You know, in the sense how the way he writes everything, describes everything. I can You can just see it as happening. Like, they're almost like when you watch a Guy Ritchie movie. That's kind of when I see like Criminal. So it's
Yeah.
directed, yeah,
Yeah, I
and
could see that for sure.
yeah, especially I'm trying to think that one movie Jason Statham was in where he became the armored car driver.
Oh, I
Oh,
can't remember. Oh, that's the new one. I still haven't seen that one, Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man. Yeah, that is that dress just watches like a criminal story.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you finally are digging in on that. I think Zach's about to start too. So it'll be fun to have more criminal people to talk about those with. Because man, and Ed Brubaker, when we talk about consistency, man, he's just every step. You're like, oh, how is he gonna keep up at this level? But he just does. And you talked about like Fatale. I haven't read Fatale yet, but even his non-criminal stuff, if you like his criminal, you're gonna like the non-criminal because he's got the same writing style. He approaches it the same way. The only real difference is it doesn't take place in this criminal world or the main character is like not actually a criminal.
Yeah,
But
I think there's like 6 volumes of Criminal.
yeah, so you'll see um, like the fade out we covered on the old criminal cast. It to me, Skip disagrees, but to me, I read the fade out and I'm like, this feels like a criminal story. Or his new series, Reckless, what he's doing the original graphic novels. Those feel like criminal books too. The only difference is the main character is like not a criminal, but it has the
Yeah,
same kind of seedy underworld, the same type of, the same style of writing. So, yeah, you got a
yeah,
lot to look forward to.
and the thing is, like, some of these guys, you just feel so bad for them. And it's like, and it's not even that they get killed because it's not their fault. Because like the very first, I'm not gonna spoil what happens to the great guy, but just saying because someone else's mistake, he tries to play hero and
Yeah.
then tries it breaks his rules. He has rules he lives by. That's how he gets through, and he goes against his rules to do something else. And it ends up costing him stuff. It's just like it's just crazy. Um, but like I said, it just felt like you got corrupt cops, you got mob, you just it's just and it's criminal. It's all centered around at least the first volume is called this bar called the Undertow. The End Silent. It's been burned down since the 50s. It's called Undertown Bar, but they call it the Undertow because the end hasn't worked forever. And it's where all this seedy the villain stuff going out there, and just like the bar that the guy went to go drink it, in the first series, that's where we're introduced, and then we get to the second guy, Tracy comes in the second story, comes in there, same bar. I'm just curious, like how many times are we gonna visit that bar? It's like everyone's just a story out of that bar, you
She
know.
does make quite a few appearances. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, you're gonna see some, and I think even the bartender guy either has a story or has a prominent part in a story in one of them. But
Well, he's in the first story, and I think he's also appears again in the second story too. Definitely the second story, I think. Yeah, and so does the girl from the first story. So side characters are already appearing, and I'm on issue 8. 1 through 6 is the first story. You know, there's like 12 issues. Man, like I said, it's just been a fun ride so far.
Awesome. I'm really glad you like it. It's one of my Ed Brubaker has become one of my favorite creators in comics. And I'm not even necessarily like a big crime kind of comic guy. You know, we've talked about this before. My bread and butter is superhero comics. Um, and you know, if I want to watch like crimes, I do like crime stuff, but typically I like it like as a movie, you know, like a Scorsese movie or something. Sometimes the
Yeah.
TV shows, I don't often get in the TV shows because I feel like the TV shows are a little bit like they're a little watered down. I like the real gritty, like, and then TV, especially the network TV shows. It's just too sanitary, too just clean, and not. Um, but some of the cable stuff sometimes can be. And but so I got into this late, and it was just everyone, you know, like Wes and Skip and Eric Breen and all these guys are just, oh, criminal, criminal, like to just you know, drooling all over it, and I'm just like, "Wow, how good can it be?" It's just crime stuff, and then I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, so, I put here on the screen, for those anyone who may be watching, here's the whole criminal list of books. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's 8 total, um, trade paperbacks that you can get that cover all the floppy series. Wait, did I count 8? There's 7. There's 7. Um, there's also an unofficial eighth one called All My Heroes Have Been Junkies. It's not listed as criminals, but a lot of people consider it the unofficial eighth one. And then there's 3 deluxe hardcovers, which just basically cover all the trades if you don't want floppies. I got the hardcovers. These are just gorgeous. I think you have the first volume, right?
Yeah, I have the first one.
Let's
Yes,
see.
with the
And I'm telling you guys, even if you think you're like, it's just not totally my thing, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips are so good, they'll win you over. It's really great. So awesome. I'm glad I got more people on the bandwagon, so I'm not the only the only bandwagoner. Let's go ahead and look at the chat real quick too, so we don't ignore our people that make this show possible.
with
You
viewers
guys,
like you.
you guys. Oh, gotta. That's the wrong screen. I'm just not
Yeah,
doing things well tonight. I'm sick. My brain's not working. No, not the comic. You dumb thing.
old age
Yeah,
has
yeah.
finally caught up to him.
Old age. Yeah, no. It just and being just under the weather. Um, thank you guys for being here. Looks like Rachel is our first person in the chat tonight. So the first person award that doesn't mean anything goes to Rachel. Congratulations. Yay. Jughead Grayson. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that name, but welcome. That might be a new person. Jay Lucian, good to see you. Marania is also here. Um, let me see some other recognizable names. Um,
And Jughead's from over on Ease Auction. Or no,
oh,
yeah,
okay, cool. Cool,
so
cool.
it's
Welcome. HR is also in the house. And Eric Breen is here. You talk about criminal, and even Eric Breen will show up to my channel.
oh man,
Uh,
AHR's here. I gotta be in my best behavior.
um, and I think that's all the names I recognize. So if I missed anyone's name, I apologize. Say something in chat. I'll give you a shout out. If you're just lurking, welcome as well. Um, I'm taking a look for comments to see if there's anything. We do like to address the comments as much as we can. We're not going to read everything, so if you comment and we skip over it, please don't take that personal or whatever. Sometimes it just I don't see it. Sometimes I'm just trying to move the show along. Um,
And I,
you
I,
know,
I just purposely skip it. So
yeah, I try to make up for RDV's insensitivity and cold-heartedness,
I'm in training for insensitivity.
insensitivity training.
Yeah,
That's funny. Um,
that's why AHR's here to watch me. Human resources, bro. That's what HR stands for. Human resources goes vocal.
oh, is that what that is?
Whenever I see HR, I think of human resources.
Me too, man. I hate human resources.
Yeah, we don't like HR.
um, let's see. I'm just seeing some just banter and chit chat between the folks. So I'm not sure I see anything worth addressing. But if anyone wants to talk about books you guys have been reading, make a comment out it. We'll shout out the books you're reading,
I'm
or
not.
just
I'm not.
anything,
Honestly, if it was
movies.
just me, I wouldn't address anything because they're grown ups. They can dress themselves.
Not all grown-ups can dress themselves.
Eric Green can. They're
Have a
so
little sensitivity.
I can't. I'm all out.
HR says Brubaker is a masterful writer, so he agrees. Um, Eric says in his defense, at his age, drooling just kind of happens.
You know what? I know what the most disgusting thing I saw today. I was at the store. Guess what I saw next to like all the chips and stuff, as far as like the beef jerky and the peanuts. Guess what I saw there? Nasty,
um,
nasty freaking California kill chips. Keep your shit on your side of the little country. Freaking kill chips. Blech. No thanks. Kale chips.
weren't
Ugh.
the kale chips were in the kale chips? Wasn't that video that I sent you about the
Yes,
Wisconsinite
they
coming to?
were. Yeah, I saw it. It's like no. It's like what idiot thought that was here? It's like the people going to Texas bringing their their California ways. That's why Houston and Austin are also freaking liberal.
You're
It's
getting
just start
invaded. Remember,
it starts
as
it starts with kill chips.
California goes, so does the rest of the country 5 years later.
Honestly, I don't want the rest of the country to be DC Comics and copy Marvel California. I want us to be separate from you guys.
Well, it's not going to happen.
Gavin Newsom's gonna cause the whole entire state to be basically a prison state.
Gavin
Wouldn't
Newsom's
that be
going to be your president in the near future, so you better just get prepared.
That's not true. I'm having Elizabeth Warren be president instead.
She can't be president. No one
What?
wants.
Literally,
Even the
like
liberals don't want her.
no, you gotta be as old as fuck, and you gotta be can't be competent at all. That's how Joe got in president.
Yeah, I don't know how Joe got president. To be honest, I think it's so that the people power behind the scenes could just have a puppet that wouldn't interfere with anything, and then that they would have a
Oh,
fall guy.
you want to know how it would be the best thing for our country? Maxine Waters as president.
Ugh.
Can you imagine how just quickly we'd all die?
You know what's funny? I used to have this theory that like every election got worse and worse. Just like you'd have an election, you'd be like, "Oh my god, this is like the worst two choices I've ever had," and then 4 years later, you'd be like, "Oh, I stand corrected. This is the worst two choices." And then 4 years later, be like, "Oh, it's even worse."
So I
And I
saw. So yeah, speaking of
no,
that, I
no, hold
saw
on.
people were like, oh, but
I'm sorry. Let me finish my thought. It was only until 2016 because I thought the same thing in 2016 too. I was like, "Oh my god, Hillary and Donald Trump." I was like, just when you thought it couldn't be worse than Obama and McCain. Now, fortunately, Trump changed my mind, and I was like, "Oh, he wasn't actually that bad." But then now Biden, I'm like, "How could he be worse than Biden?" And you just pointed it out to me. I was like, "That's that's the only person I think could be worse president than Biden. It would be Maxine Waters."
so the people who hate Trump are now saying they don't want to vote for Biden or Trump in the next election. They're
Oh
both
yeah,
bad. It's like,
yeah.
wait,
Just
no, you can't change
the
your
Dem
mind. You said
the
Biden was good.
yeah the Democrats they're just preparing people to vote for my governor Newsom. So
Maxine Waters for president. Let's get it going.
HR says it's an initial for his name. The book I'm currently reading that has been solid is Little Monsters by Jeff Lemire. I have been reading some of Little Monsters, but I stopped because it is so decompressed. Like I feel like it's a book you want to binge. It's not a bad book, but you can't read it in like 20-page doses because just like nothing happens. It's well done, but
It's like this
it,
manga I've been reading. Like we're like two or almost 300 chapters in, and we're like, it's like, okay, can we move past the plot?
Can we move
You know,
past the plot? Did you just say that? That's the
yes,
whole
because the
point.
because the plot the plot's been him pining for this girl, and he finally gets the point. He finally gets the nerve to confess to the girl, and then she's like, "Well, I'm not sure. Let me maybe evaluate." And it's been like 3 months since that chapter. Where we've gone on, and like, she's still evaluating if she wants to be his girlfriend or not. Modernism, as far as dating. Ugh. She secretly likes. It's one of those like mangas. Like I should stop reading, but I read it because I just want to know how long is this gonna go. Like you're sucked into it. It's like you just can't turn away.
What manga is it?
This is My Rental Girlfriend.
My Rental Girlfriend.
Yep.
That sounds like a manga.
Uh, yeah. The funny thing is, I until after I started reading this manga, I didn't realize that actually rental girlfriends actually exist in Japan.
Yes. You
That's
can
what they do
also
with
you
you.
can also rent a family.
What? That's
Yes. You can rent a family and have like a wife and kids.
that's messed up.
Yep. Japan is a weird
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, like the main character, like it's believable because like the main character is like he likes this girl, and then he rents. Basically, he gets dumped. He rents this. He hires this girl to pose his girlfriend for a day, and then something happens where like he has to go. His grandma gets in sent to the hospital, and then when he goes to visit his grandma, and then his grandma's like, oh, he finally. She's like, he finally have a girlfriend, and she's like, and then he finds out that her grandma is also in the hospital too, and they know each other. So now they have to keep the ruse up that they're dating, and it's just like the whole thing. It gets worse and worse. His friends now think that they're dating, and like he ends up falling for her, and then she secretly likes him, but like they're not allowed to date clients. And then he finds out like that she's actually like his next door neighbor, like in the apartment structure that he lives in. She's like the next door because she looks totally different when she's not dressed up. You know, She only does that because she wants to be an actor. She's doing that for money while going to school. It's really messed up.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's so frustrating because like I read it online. You know, um, I've been saving up money that I'm going to do is I'm hoping it's released in like one of those omnibus forums, like they do that for like the some of the mangas. Get those like the thick volume, compendiums. I'm gonna go buy it all at once. But the best thing about though is the comment section, reading about people who are also people reading this too and just talking about it, and they're just like, dude's like, "Well, see you next week," and well, maybe next week. And they're always joking because like nothing really the plot doesn't really advance at all. Like you find out a little bit like, oh, she likes him, and then she's about the time, and then something happens, and like this guy, and they're laughing because they're like, this guy is gonna stretch the author is gonna stretch out this plot until the day he dies, you know. But
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of manga these days.
because
Rachel
well,
says she did
yeah,
shout out something, but we already know about her Warhammer obsession. So apparently she's reading some Warhammer, I guess the Marvel Warhammer.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because the sad thing about this manga is everybody knows like as soon as like the guy gets with the girl, it's over. So
it's
like
true with that's true with a lot of stuff that way.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So we're just taking bets. I'm like, when is it gonna end?
it's the journey that matters, man. Like that was the problem with Castle. They had Castle and what's her name get together, and it was like, well, now you just ruined the show. Like now, you know.
Will they or won't they? And like that's been the thing. It's like we take 2 steps forward and then 5 steps back. It's like stop. It's yeah. But it's this the manga. It became so popular, it spawned an anime, and it also has a live action TV series.
No. So HR says
Yeah,
he recommends a manga and a webtoon. He recommends Purple Hyacinth as the webtoon, and the manga is Shojin X. I don't know either anything about either of those, but that's apparently what he's into. Um,
As far as webtoons go, I would recommend Sweet Home. And then that same show, it's actually a show on Netflix. It's kind of like a creature thing, like a virus. People start turning into like monsters, in this thing, and this and this kid starts turning too. But unlike all the people are turning the monsters, he's able to keep his humanity and actually fights protect the people in the apartment building.
hmm. I don't have time to read webtoons. I've decided. Like there's too many I don't even buy a lot of comics and I already struggle to read the books that I have.
Yeah, webtoons are. Yeah,
There's a few manga that I want to read, but I'm buried behind. I'm like webtoon is like the last unless someone just shouts out to me and like, "Oh my god, this is like the greatest thing." I mean, I'm not totally against it, but by and large, most of the webtoons is because it can't succeed on the commercial market. So it's and I don't have anything against them. Like these are people that are passionate about what they want to do and they want to put it up on the web. More power to you. But I just want to I want to read the best of the best stuff, and typically that's not in the webtoon genre. So, and because I don't read a lot, I got to be more picky than most people.
the only shout out that Ronnie's got is that the guy on I writes that I am Iron Man claims as a leveler to Iron Man fans. He said the infamous Iron Man run by Bendis is the best Iron Man story ever. Yeah, I'd be pissed too if I saw me that. And I don't usually promote violence, but when you say stupid shit like that, you need to get punched. When you say Bendis is better than any other previous run story written of Iron
Not
Man,
even an Iron Man run.
yeah,
Infamous
infamous.
Iron Man doesn't have Iron Man in it at all. It's a Doctor Doom story.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, that's why I like it because I like Doctor Doom. I like Iron Man and Doctor Doom. I didn't know what I was getting into when I read it. Um,
I, I think. No, I think Tony's in there at the very beginning, and then
no,
that's it.
he's dead. That's why. Remember, like, because it takes place at the same time as what was the other Iron Man series where Riri was Iron Man?
Because there was, well, I'm trying to think what series that was, but it was Iron Man something. It might have been Bendis Iron Man. There was where before he dies, he comes across he's trying to date this girl, and then they're approached by Victor Von Doom without wearing his face is healed. You know,
Yeah, that's
I think
Infamous
that
Iron Man. But
yeah,
he's taking up the role of Iron Man because
yeah.
someone he feels that someone needs to be Iron Man because Tony's dead and he's the only one qualified to do so.
It was kind of funny because I remember there's this thing that Tony does is like he builds this energy field that can contain Doctor Doom, you know, trap him.
Now speak, we spoke the words Bendis 3 times, and guess who showed up?
Jimmy,
Our boy
yeah.
Jimmy. Welcome, Jimmy. Good to see you. He says
Do you hear?
Bendis is good.
Do you hear that Jimmy's pregnant?
Jimmy's not pregnant. Good
Did you not
lord.
see his pregnancy test he posted on Twitter?
Oh no, I didn't.
he's
Bendis feels like
he's
the Ryan Johnson of Star Wars. No, Ryan Johnson's actually a really talented filmmaker.
actually
Bendis is a
Bendis is
hack.
better than
There's a
Ryan
difference.
Johnson. Sorry.
That's just so asinine to say.
Well, no, early Bendis is better than Ryan Johnson.
Oh, he's not.
Yes.
The worst thing that Ryan Johnson's ever done is the best Star Wars project that Disney has ever done. That's the worst thing that Ryan Johnson's ever done. Everything else he's done has been like award-winning, acclaimed stuff. His last film was, I think, got like best screenplay. He wrote. The guy is super talented. Last Jedi. For anyone that says they don't like Ryan Johnson, the only thing that they've watched is Last Jedi. In my
I
opinion,
don't
this
I
is the
don't I
case. They've only
don't
watched
I,
Last Jedi, and then they just fall into the whole group think mentality of like, Last Jedi is the most awful thing ever. Meep meep moop moop.
it's not as bad as Looper.
Looper is good. You didn't like Looper?
No, I did not.
Oh, come on. You didn't watch it. You're just
I
trying
did
to
watch
you're
it.
trolling me.
No, the whole Harrison Ford thing at the end. Oh,
Harrison Ford?
no, Harrison Ford. Sorry, I get confused. Two old guys, who are both almost done acting. Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, what happens to Bruce Willis's character again?
Yep. Sorry, Rachel. I do think Last Jedi is good, and I can argue it all day, but that's not what this show is about. So we don't want to get off track. It is the most maligned movie of all time because fans, uh, people are group thinkers. They go along with the crowd. Um, and anyways, I don't. I've been down this road for years. Um, there's at this point, there's no changing anyone's mind. The people who've dug in their heels and think it's bad, there's no way. There's nothing you can say change their mind. So
No, I haven't seen Knives Out, but I just it could be good.
yeah, Knives Out's really good, really good.
I'm
Um,
looking at the rest. I'm looking at these earlier movies before this TV series did, and nothing really stands out before Looper.
well, you probably wouldn't have seen it because it was indie films like Brick. I'm trying to think of the other movies.
I'm trying to think. Is that the Paul Walker movie?
No,
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking Breaking Matches.
you know. So,
They're like short.
anyways,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm actually bummed. I don't think we're ever gonna get Ryan Johnson's trilogy, so we're just gonna get Mandalorian BS crap now. So
Mandalorian's pretty good.
it hasn't been good the first two seasons. I'll
Two ep-
I'll
two
stay
episodes
open
in.
minded
Yeah,
for season three, but
season two is not as good as season one. Season one was pretty good. Season two, the first two episodes of season three I've been liking.
Eric says Knives Out was mid. Oh, Eric, now Eric's
I
trolling.
I I can't post the thing. So sorry.
We're all group thinkers to a point, Rachel. I don't mean to be rude to you. Um, but obviously when I make blanket statements, there's going to be exceptions to the norm. So it's not every single person ever that didn't like the movie. But by and large, in my almost 50 years of life, I have never seen a film more maligned uh, undeservedly than The Last Jedi. Um,
Didn't the Last Jedi make a ginger evil? He was working for the Sith, the
um,
Empire, guy on the
well, that
bridge.
all started with J.J. Abrams.
Uh,
A lot of things that people don't like about The Last Jedi, and people have to keep in mind that Ryan Johnson had to build off of what J.J. Abrams gave him. Basically, like J.J. Abrams made that movie Force Awakens and then ended it on that stupid weird spot to end it, and is like, "Here you go, Ryan, make a movie now." And
which
it,
is really weird. They gave it to Ryan Johnson and so like letting J.J. Abrams finish it.
well, they wanted to have three different filmmakers do it, and J.J. only wanted to do the first movie anyway. Um,
So why did they do a sit down like most people do for writers and sit down? Like, I'm gonna do this part and then you continue here.
That's I have no idea. I 100% agree that the production of these movies, Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, like totally mishandled it. And as positive as I am about The Last Jedi, I will 100% concede that Rise of Skywalker took everything that was good about Last Jedi and just swept it under the rug and just flushed it down the toilet. Like it was like I can't even
Eric,
really I can defend the movie, but there's no point in it be even being good anymore because it's 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 been made null and void. So yeah, Disney mishandled Star Wars so bad. I can't even I can't even fathom it. like I knew that it wasn't going to be as good as the Lucas stuff. I was going in expecting that, but I was not prepared for how bad they've mishandled it and continued to mishandle. Like they're almost like, oh yeah, we know we're screwing up. We're just full speed ahead. No one's getting fired. No change in direction. Just keep on doing what we're doing. But what are you gonna do? Um, and Jay says that's only because Last Jedi sucked. Ash, no, Rise of Skywalker is 10 times shittier than Last Jedi. Force Awakens is half the film that Last Jedi was. And Rogue One is the only one that's semi good, but Rogue One's barely a Star Wars movie. It has no characterization in it, which is something that Star Wars movies are known for. Uh, you don't care about anyone in that movie. It's just it's got good special effects. I love it. I love the Darth Vader hall fight. It's badass. It's got the second best space battle since Return of the Jedi. There's good things about it, but otherwise, who cares about these characters that um although I got to say Andor, I was not prepared for Andor. I was like, they made a movie about the dude from Rogue One. Andor's really good. Um Andor might actually make Rogue One a lot better because they actually developed that character. Let's get off the Star Wars whack. No one's here to
You're the only one
Breen
talking,
says
bro.
Kennedy over Cameron. You bastard. Um let's see. Ryan says, yeah, wait, yes, I watched it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. I don't want to use
It's
the overused mid to describe it, but it was a movie.
it's
Nothing
meh.
more, nothing
It's
less than
meh.
me.
It's meh. You know.
Mid is a difficult. Some people take the word mid to mean like an insult, like that it's bad. And
Well, only
others
only
like
only.
myself, I use the word mid to be like it's like average. It's like okay. It does
Well,
okay.
the reasons some people get offended by the if someone using the word mid is because they really love something, and then you say it's not up to par what they think it is, they get insulted. That's the new mentality of all these kids
Right.
today.
It's kind of like if you tell me Avatar's mid, I get all fired up.
Oh, it's less than mid.
Oh, you bastard. Jay says never saw Rise, don't care to. Uh, I I don't I don't disagree with you. Like if you think Last Jedi is bad, then yeah, Rise of Skywalker is atrocious. It destroys the Star Wars trilogy. It was like Disney putting a nail in the coffin. Um, Cinema Quirk's better than Ash. Jeez, Breen. And man, we're doing two books tonight that Breen will actually like. I wonder if he'll
Green's
stick
read
around
one
for
of them.
those.
I know he's read one of them, so that's good.
Ronnie says Andor was mid to me for the first few episodes. It didn't feel like Star Wars to me at all. Later, it dug more into Star Wars feel, and it was pretty good. Yeah,
I
the Andor
watched it.
is kind of how I would almost do Criminal. The season is two parts, and each part is kind of its own story, so it's almost like two mini seasons in it. And I forget which one it was, the first season, the second one, or the second half. One of them felt like a Dirty Dozen story, but like in the Star Wars world. I think that was the second half. The first half, I was like, man, this feels like something. But yeah, it's more of like a criminal kind of like espionage stuff in Star Wars. So it doesn't have a total Star Wars feel, but it's so good, man.
It's how good?
It's so good. So good.
I need to go back and clip those with Jimmy so I can just play that soundbite.
Evil Black Cat's here. He says James Cameron's Ferngully was mid. Everyone knows how to push my buttons. That's true. It's all right, man. My boy James Cameron has not one, not two, but three of the top four movies of all time are James Cameron films. So he just laughing all the way to the bank. The Oscars snubbing him. But oh well. Looks like everyone's done talking about their shout outs. Everyone's making fun of me and my picks, but they don't put their stuff out in the open of what's awesome. I saw um, Black Adam, and it was very disappointing. I I was really kind of annoyed when I heard that they were like parting ways with The Rock, parting ways with Henry Cavill. I'm still annoyed with the Henry Cavill thing, but after seeing Black Adam, I'm like, man, if this is how they're gonna do the movies, they do need to just start over. It's you cannot have a DC universe and at that level of quality.
You could if you bring in RDJ as Lex Luthor, opposite of Cavill.
I don't know, man. They had talented actors in the movie. I mean, and that was one of the biggest disappointments, man. Pierce Brosnan as Doctor Fate was so awesome. The Rock, it was great as Black Adam, but the movie was I don't I forget who I told. I was like, man, I've read Teenie Howard books that had a better plot than that movie. Um, so disappointing.
You read Genie Howard?
Yeah, I read Teenie. I remember I used to try to get into the X-Men. Teenie
Is
Howard's
Teenie
Excalibur had a better plot than Black Adam. Yep, I said it. And I'm not saying I liked Teenie Howard's Excalibur. That's not. Don't misunderstand me.
I don't know. I thought Black Adam was fine.
Oh, anyone who tells me, and you're not one of them, so I'm not trying to insult you, but anyone who tells me that Last Jedi is one of the worst movies ever, but then if they liked Black Adam, I just have to shrug my shoulders and be like, I don't know.
I like Black Adam had its own faults, but I think I enjoyed it more watching that than I did watching Last Jedi. It's probably because I'm not really a big Star Wars fan.
There was no story. It was literally just, look, here's a guy as Black Adam. Oh, now here's the Justice Society. Immediately, let's fight. Boom, boom, we're fighting. Hey, why are you fighting back? Why don't you talk to us? I don't know, because you're fighting me. Okay, let's fight some more. Okay.
Story
Oh, there's a
there,
kid. Oh, look, there's a kid. You should be a hero, Black Adam. I'm no hero. But you could be a hero. I'm no hero. Fight, fight, more fighting, fight. Surprise twist. Oh, didn't see that coming. More fight. Oh, we defeated Black Adam. Oh, guess what? Now we need Black Adam. We got to bring him back. Oh, okay. The end. Like, what? It was.
the story. There was a story. Yes, they're preoccupied or occupied by a terrorist group known as Intergang. Yeah, and her only hope was this legend, of this, this imprisoned warrior. So she releases him. He slaughters all the Intergang members, and then eventually he comes to their aid to help them
She didn't
out.
even.
But
She wasn't trying to
pretty much,
release him. She
yeah,
she
she
did
was.
it. No,
The
she
power.
was.
She didn't know it was him though, but there was a power that was listening there.
No, she
He's
was
trying to
just
get him.
trying to steal that crown, and then she got caught. And when she was about to die, she happened to look down and like, oh look, here's some text. If I read this, I'll free this power. And boom, she frees Black Adam totally by accident.
Totally by accident reading this thing.
Could remember because they had a gun to her head, and so she was looking at the ground, and the ground
Have you read
beneath her happened to
comics of Marvel
be
comics?
this
Majority of Marvel
text.
DC comics is pretty much like that.
Yeah, like I said, when
Plot
it's Teeny
convenience.
Howard writing a monthly comic, I can, well, sort of forgive it. When
That's
it's a
Stan
big
Lee,
budget
bro.
Warner Brother movie
that's
that's been in the making for 10 years and then that's the story you came up with,
that's pretty much like a Stan Lee story. The early Stan Lee stuff. It's like a plot convenience.
no, man, there was almost no, and there was zero character development. No
Uh
character was developed in that movie.
The Rock becomes his character is slowly becoming, you know, less of a murderer and actually helping them out.
Yeah, but you don't have any reason why. He just changes, but without any
Because the
understanding
boy
of
reminds
why.
because the boy reminds him of his son.
Now, if you want to see a movie that does that, then that's not even that great, but semi does that. It's that Stallone movie, that
The Samaritan.
The
Ugh.
Samaritan. Samaritan does that 10 times better than Black Adam, and Samaritan's not even that. I mean, it's watchable if it's free on Netflix or whatever or Prime, one of those places. So it's worth a watch for free. I wouldn't pay a movie ticket for, and I'm glad I didn't pay a movie ticket for Black Adam. But anyway, some people like it, so more power to you guys. Um, Obviously, I like Last Jedi, and I'm way outnumbered comparatively. So different
As
different boats for different
and,
floats for different boats. How's that work?
as Breen said, you just admit that you read Teeny how we're supposed to take your word for it on things.
As you bring up Last Jedi, man, it just stirs up a hornet's nest. People can't stop. Um, Last Jedi made you
Well,
aware of woke culture. It's not even that woke. People freaked out because there was a character with purple hair in it, and they're like, woke! And it's like, she didn't do anything woke. Like, they
they're
just,
gonna say that,
like, it's a
when they
Star
say they
Wars
woke,
movie. Characters
they
have
mean
colored hair.
no, but that's not even really a thing. What they think when they woke is because it's Ray's in it. That's the only thing that's woke about it, it's
Ray
Ray.
was already, that's the thing. Ray was already the character set up in the first movie. So Ryan Johnson had to put Ray, like, and Ryan Johnson actually, of all three movies, Ryan Johnson's the only one that actually tried to put character development with Ray and like write her as a character rather than just a complete Mary Sue the way J.J. Abrams had done. Anyways, let's get into comics because if we don't, we'll just sit here and talk about Star Wars all day, which no, it'll make no one happy because me and
All
Jimmy
right,
are the
all
only
right,
ones that appreciate TLJ.
all right, Breen. We're getting to the show now. You can go to bed.
Pew pew, he says. Uh, so, the two books we're featuring tonight are books I believe that Breen either likes or would like. Would you concur with that?
Well, I know one of them he's actually read and does like. Yeah, I don't know if he's read the. I don't know if he's read Blood Tree though.
Yeah, I don't know if you've read Blood Tree, Breen, but I think Breen would like it because when I read this,
It's a crime story.
it feels like Bosch.
Yep. Uh, Serial killer. Cops trying to hunt him, track him down.
Right.
Yep.
But the way the cop relationship is, like the two cops,
It's like Edgar
yeah,
and Bosch.
yeah, it has a very similar Edgar Bosch
Yeah.
feel. Um,
The younger cop is and then teamed up with the older detective.
yep.
No.
Um, yeah, so I think Eric would get into this. Um, so the setup of this book, how would you set up this book? Because we didn't do issue one. How would you describe this to a new person? What this book is?
Um. Uh, a cop who pretty much is trying to struggle to, keep his family together, as far as, trying to be a good father, a good husband. He's kind of married to his job. His wife doesn't like the fact that he's always on the phone doing stuff. She wants to, she gets annoyed easily. And it starts with a body. A body is found, and there's wings attached to it, like it almost looks like an angel. And he's basically tasked with basically the homicide to basically figure out what's going on, what's connection is. Then another body drops, another one, and they're trying to find the connections between all of them. The second issue, like he goes to church, he's at church, Sunday on Sunday he's at church with his family, and then he has an epiphany. He stops like it's like let's just say it's really cool because he stops like the sermon and goes up to the pastor. He's like, "Hey, can I talk to you a second first?" And it's like, and then he goes in and after he talks to the pastor, he goes back, he sits down. He's like, "Okay, guys, sorry for the intermission." And continue. His wife just gives him the most dirtiest look ever. She's so pissed off, embarrassed. Like it's just like I said, it's a fun. Uh, sorry, Eric. Yes, even if he does read Tina Howard, take my word for it. Yeah.
I don't read Teenie Howard in the sense that I seek out Teenie Howard to read. I was really trying to give X-Men a chance back when Hickman had taken over, and so I was trying to
I
be
only
open-minded.
well, speaking of the open-minded, do you read Sutter Kane?
Sutter Kane? No,
Yeah. Oh,
I don't even know what
you're
Sutter Kane is.
have you ever watched the movie with Sam Neill? It's called Into the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, In the Mouth of Madness is great. It's a John Carpenter flick. It's one of
Yeah.
his best films.
Sutter Kane is the author of the book. Do you read Sutter Kane?
Oh man, phew, you're tasking my memory now. Um,
It's like so. I always ask people that. It's like it's
Jay's trying to troll me about. I didn't say General Holdo is stunning and brave. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to let it die. Do you see how they just keep trying to rope me back in? It's like a
That's
it's a lifestyle hating on Last Jedi. It's how
well,
people like
listen, man.
Neurotic make a living.
Don't pay attention to this guy. This is the guy who really wants to have time to write all the books he reads. He's a
Helam has
huge
joined
comic book
us.
person.
Ethereal Dragons here. Austin P. He says something about what character development. I don't know what you're talking about, but
I don't know,
um,
but like I said, it literally is. It's not a procedural thing. So that's one thing. So it's like is Bosch is not a procedural cop show.
kind of
Uh,
is though. You wouldn't say Boss is a procedural.
Compared to NYPD Blue
It's not
and some of
procedural
the
the
other
way
ones,
that like the network shows where it's like one episode
he
wraps
does
it all up.
he's kind of like the thing is with Bosch, he's always getting in trouble because he always does what his instinct is.
Right.
Damn the consequences, and that's why we like Bosch, because if
Yeah,
it was
Bosch is a
more
good
like
show, guys. If
yeah,
Amazon Prime, check it out. It's good detective show.
yeah. Um. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, this book is a Blood Tree. It's been 2 issues in. It's Peter J. Tomasi. Do you need more than that?
That's why I picked it
Like,
up. I had no idea what Blood Tree was. I hate the name. I'm
uh,
like, it's called Blood Tree. That's a dumb name.
yeah, yeah. So Zach had talked about this a while back on the Kiki Puppet Show and during our top five, and like I was like, okay. I didn't want to add the book at first because I already have enough books on my pull list as it was. So then I went back and I read the first issue like about a week or two later after he said like, oh no, so he's like, oh, it's really good. It's a good series. Now, I'm not sure how many issues it's gonna be, but for those of you who don't want to pick up floppies, I'd recommend picking up the hardcover if there is one, or just a trade. I think trades it for Image because it's Image books. There's probably only be like $10, right?
I think that this is a book in my opinion that the chat is probably questioning right now. Um, this is a book that's probably better enjoyed in the floppies for the reason that it is a detective story, and I think the stretching out of that story is going to prolong your entertainment. I think if you just burned through this in like an afternoon in one binge read, you would enjoy it, but would you enjoy it for whatever the $20, ticket is versus stretch this out over 6 months? I don't even know how long this is going to be. Is this an ongoing
I, I
series? Like,
I don't know, but I mean,
I'm guessing it's a mini.
I would read it like you're watching a TV series. Read one a week, Ken.
Yeah, I very much like the parsing it out and read a little bit, take a break, read a little bit. Um, so it's called Blood Tree. You can see the picture here of issue number 2. I'm assuming that this is why. This is kind of a scene that's in the book. Um, and I'm assuming it's a mini series because unlike Bosch, which is just named after the character, you can just have tons of investigation. The Blood Tree is the investigation. So
And this guy is also creating like when people do like their ancestry tree. He's writing his victims' names, the serial killers, on the tree branches. We
yeah.
don't know why, but that's what he's doing. Uh, so far, 1 through 4. The 4 comes out, and okay, I think it's going to be a 4 issues because May 3rd is the fourth, and then and by October they're going to have volume 1 out.
Oh, okay. It's only 4 issues. All right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but so far it's pretty cool. Um,
So here's the two detectives. One of the things my favorite scene in the first issue, I just want to say, was when the angel falls out of the sky because I had no idea what this book is. I came into it cold, and I was
yep.
actually really excited. I was like, "Oh, they're gonna have some supernatural in this book," like because this angel like literally falls out of the sky. Um, and then they find out that the wings are fake and they were surgically grafted onto the body, and that becomes part of the investigation as more victims happen.
Oh,
They all have the same thing, and so that's the serial killer portion. Um,
yeah. like the more you learn about the and there's a lot, as Takim says, there's a lot of detective work. And as I say by Bosch, they go to like the morgue, ask about what this, and then they just do interviews with stuff, and then like you find like they get a call in the second issue, like says one of our boys, the cops, uh found this guy in the park, next to a woman, and he's strangled, and he was getting just after his pants ran on his pants, basically raped her and was gonna like strangle the woman. So they went to go to look next to Ken, and you see in the second issue is like basically like you find a much even more horrifying scene because like, and they're just trying to figure out what the motive is. Is this guy like is he blind to like is he obsessed with angels, or as far as like no as far as is there more to that, like is he trying to save his victims or by murdering them, like they just don't know. It's just but there's a lot of guessing, but and the funny thing about this, like I said, it's kind of when we say it's a lot like Bosch, is that the older detective will always crack jokes, sometimes, to the younger female cop detective who's working with them.
Yeah, and the fact that his dedication to his work reminded me of Bosch. Like Bosch kind of like lives for the job.
Yes.
This guy Dario, similar way, which is what gets him in trouble with his wife because unlike Bosch, who's single, um, well, he's single because of that. This guy actually has a wife and kids that he's trying to maintain, but you know, being a detective, he, the job never sleeps. So,
All right. So I want to point out though that the interior artist Maxim Imi he did the art on Escape from New York, and also he worked on Conan.
oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with this guy's work. Um,
Well,
Reminds me a
it's
little
well,
bit of when I was going through it. It reminds me a lot of how Chris Samney approached uh, what was the book? Firepower.
the
Like
art for
seeing,
me is like I don't really care as much for the art in this as much as like the story is what's really keeping me interhooked.
yeah,
Like
I'm not a huge fan of
because
the art
the art,
either.
this art reminds me because I've seen like this guy's art before, and I'm not sure if this guy also worked on Big Trouble in Little China, which was I think it was through Boom Studios at the time, and that was horrendous art. It's like so I don't know if this guy worked on that or not too. The Maxim Mimi,
Yeah,
Maximum Simic,
yeah,
I think it's
and
yeah.
this is something we were talking on the Discord chat the other day. We were talking about digital artists. Here's a gross example of the digital art and the problem with digital inking. This just screams like I can just see it like from there. I can't help but notice it. The heavy lines. Like look at the last panel on this page. These brush strokes are just too thick. Um, and or I like look at the stripes on the mother's shirt here. Um, it
Yeah, he
just
just shows up at the door. He rings the doorbell, and here you see the serial killer, and then he quotes something like, "What the heck?" But like, because you see this guy is a creep as it is, and then when you're like you I don't have to tell you what happens next. Him showing up at this family's home randomly, and it's like just like oh my gosh, and like kids are playing games stuff,
that's another way that
and
this reminded me about Bosch too. Is they
yeah,
introduced the killer quite early,
yep,
and then the killer is sort of interacting with the story. Remember, like in Bosch, that first
yeah.
story,
You
that
know
killer,
you know who
you
the killer is.
you know who the killer is, yeah. So it's not a matter of like who done it. It's not that. It's more of like all these characters have paths, and you're watching like how are they going to intersect. Um,
I know Eric. The art is not my cup of tea either, but the story has me hooked.
yeah, the art's
Yeah.
not the best, but
It's
like I
not as
said,
bad as it's not as bad as R.I.P.D. That art was horrible.
to be honest though, like it's a detective story. What you're reading really is the detective stuff. There's not a lot of scenes in here that you're like, oh, I just need the art to be better. It's just characters talking to each other, you know. Um, So
the art actually grew on me. I think it gets better the more you read the story. I mean, if the
yeah,
story sucks, I think I wouldn't care for the art would just I would just stop. But yeah,
here's that scene you
like
were
that.
talking about where he like interrupts service to
Yeah,
because he has like a brainstorm in the middle about the case. And so he like literally interrupts the service, takes the priest to the back room, then he comes back out and is like, okay, sorry for the intermission, folks. He's coming back
his
and his
wife.
wife is just mortified.
Yeah,
um,
she's like later. I'm like, oh.
and so we see the killer and we get some behind the scenes like, okay, this is how he's getting his inspiration for the angel's wings.
He's a
Um,
janitor, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, it looks like he's a janitor. Um, and it's really cool. Like all the characters kind of have their place in the story. Tehillim made a good point that I think's a big one. One of the subplots is that the son of the detective Dario, his son is like killing. It seems like he may be killing animals. Like he goes through like four pets just in these two issues alone.
Well, the first issue actually, he kills like he has like a pet cemetery, and there's a scene right there. It's up there on the screen right now. You see where they're cooking and grilling out, and he starts asking Dad. He's like, "Dad, when I was little, was that weird? Like, And he's talking about his son, how he's like he's got like a cemetery where he keeps it naked, the grass, and he's like, and then of course, his mother over here is like, the grandma. It's really this is the grandma. I just like shut up, know your place, because you're gonna be part of the conversation. He's like, "There's nothing," and she ends up yelling, "There's nothing wrong with your son." It's like, dude, really? That's how you act around people? Like, man, but
Yeah, I think there's something going on here too, though, because he's like asking about him. Yeah, like was I like this as a kid or whatever? The mom seems way too defensive. It almost feels
yeah,
like she's hiding something, you know.
yep.
Um, so I feel like there's something in the family tree there. Um,
Yes, and Maranya, you're bringing up a good point. Killing and torturing animals is the first, because he asked, like, did I ever
yes,
torture animals and stuff? He's like, well, you burned ants.
yes, Marania, great point. Um,
Yeah. And also, yeah, Brain, I understand $4 for a comic. The art better be at least good. Should not blow like this. But like I said, the art's there, it illustrate the story enough, just enough you can tell what's going on. It's really the dialogue and everything, and just the way, just yeah, the story goes. Like I said,
yeah,
I'm a guy. I cannot if I cannot stand the art, I will not even read the book. You know,
I can totally
but
understand. Like you got to make your choices for yourself. I'm not going to defend the art. It's not my favorite, but I will agree with RDV. Like the story overpowers the art for me. Um, I really do dig. There feels like there's a lot of depth in the story. It doesn't feel like a paint by numbers detective. Like I said, there's lots of little subtleties going on between the guy's Dario's relationship with his wife, how his kid is having this problem, like you know, seemingly might be killing his pets,
that's
or
weird.
because he even asked, he's like, "Is it possible these pets are just dying?" Like, and it's like because like fish like die real easy. The water's too warm, too cold, or whatever. So he's like, I don't know, it was my kid. And then Ronnie, you make a good point. Like torturing animals is a big deal, and I think that's really intentional. Like I think that's why that's in this story is because there's a point to that. And so I really liked how everything seems to kind of matter. There's not just a lot of fluff here. And I do like this character Dario. I would I think this would work a lot better as a TV show than a comic book, to be honest. That was my only if I don't have a gripe reading it, but like I'm reading it going, yeah, this is cool, but it'd be kind of like reading a Bosch comic. I'd be like, well, it's fine, but as the show, it'd be better to see
Now,
like good actors acting this stuff out and
now I want a Bosch comic book. Thank you very much.
so, yeah, I do
And I
like that
want,
we
and
get to see
yeah,
the criminal. It's not just like Bosch. Another thing that reminded me of is a little bit of like the Robert Harris stuff. You got the author that wrote Silence of the Lambs and Red
dude,
Dragon and Hannibal Lecter. There's a bit of that.
Bo- You know what? A Bosch comic book series written by Ed Brubaker. There you go.
Why not written by the author of Bosch?
Ah, no. I trust Brubaker.
uh, there's a ton of books, man. If you want more Bosch, just go read some
Dude, there's like 13 or 14 books. Same with Reacher.
Reacher. No, there's like in the 40s. There's a ton of Reacher books. Um, so let's see. The guy in the blue looks like Will Ferrell in Kicking and Screaming. Um, so yeah, I'm enjoying this. There's not a lot of comics on the shelves that are like this. It's definitely like a police detective story, and the closest thing that came to my mind is like Bosch. So if you are reading this and you're like and you're enjoying it, and you haven't checked out Bosch, then you really
Yeah.
should check out Bosch. And if you watch Bosch but you haven't read this, but you like Bosch, like conversely, I think if you like one, you're gonna like the other. So
Yeah. The birds. He's got a slingshot. He's got night vision goggles. Now I know where that cover came from with the night vision goggles. Because in order to get the wings, you see it's revealed that he goes this park here. They get a call from a guy like you're like, yeah, there's a guy out here killing birds, and put him into duffel bags. You're like, because and they quickly speed over the part because they learned from the guy at the morgue saying that the feathers were actually no, that they're actually real feathers. This guy took the time to create these wings. He didn't, So like I said, it's really like tied into.
yeah, I'm very curious to see how this is gonna wrap up because I feel like there's a lot more going on here than just like random killer um, type of thing.
Well,
So
it's really
um,
weird because I'm looking at the trade advertisement on like, Comic Geeks. It says collect Blood Tree 1 through 6, but then you scroll down. It says collect reprints 4 issues. Like somebody goofed to put a 6 instead of a 4 in the
we'll
description.
see how that goes.
But
Um,
it says
and and
17, but yeah, $17.
and Eric, you said $4 is a lot to pay for comic, but you get a big steep discount because you work at a store. So consider that. Or don't get it.
I'll
I totally
I'll
understand.
buy it. I'll buy it for you. How does that sound?
I am not going to go out on a limb and say this is a must buy. Like I picked it up because I like Peter Tomasi, and I'm enjoying enough to keep reading it. So any final thoughts? Oh, here's the cool alternate cover. That's a throwback homage to um, Junkyard Joe.
Oh, the night vision goggles.
Yeah, remember the Junkyard Joe? I think it was might have been issue 3 in Junkyard Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
They had the picture of Joe and the red eyes.
And you saw the reflection in the eyes. Now you see the reflection this way. And then at first I thought that was on the left. I thought that was Billy D. Williams. This was the girl, detective.
And it's of course it's also Gary Frank art, so um,
It's Brad Anderson on the cover.
yeah, let me see if
There's no Gary Frank on this at all.
yeah, that's the cover. It's Gary Frank.
No, the cover is Brad Anderson.
I thought that was Gary Frank.
No, Brad Anderson.
I stand corrected. You sure though?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Looking at an League Comics number
Well, League of
or
Comic
number
Geeks is. What are you looking at? League of Comic Geeks.
Blood Tree number 3. Blood Tree number 3 is Brad Anderson. On the one you have right now, Junkyard Joe. That's Gary Frank.
All right. Well, anyways, it seems to me that it's harkening back to this cover, but
Yeah, it's a mod. It's a homage.
I could be
Homage.
I could be wrong. Homage. Yeah. Um. By the way, as a comic not to be missed, this book. Let me put my little 5-star approval on there. This is a book that I throw my recommendation out. So What's next? What's the other book we're doing tonight?
I was gonna say Samurai Dog, but someone didn't read it.
Why you have to embarrass me like this? I've been under the
So
weather,
okay.
and I saw Black Adam, and
So
it made me all discouraged.
we had a ton of books we could have talked about. We could have talked about Octare number 11. It's been a while since it came out, and
It
number
could
12
have.
is out this week, and so is Nemesis Reloaded number 3. But the one book you should be reading, Ash, if you're not reading, is Avengers: War Across Time.
Yeah, I don't
That's
trust Marvel.
You don't have to trust Marvel. Trust Eric and I. It is a fun book.
All right, I'll try to check it out. Since Eric tries to check out my recommendations, I'll try to check out your guys's.
It's Paul Levitz from a Easy Writer taking over, first time writing over there, and he had Alan Davis on the coming back to do the art. It is just fun.
Eric says, I told you would like Junkyard Joe. You should listen to old Eric Morehash. Oh, you're funny. He's a funny.
Also,
He's
if those are wondering, the Berserker final issue comes out this week as well.
Austin. No, he's not Canadian. He's Wisconsin, so he's like cousin to Canadians.
Yeah,
Let's see.
what's it?
So
Hey,
this book,
I know, right?
everyone was talking about, everyone but me, and so I figured this might be a good one to go over since even RDV liked it, right? You liked it?
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Skip's been raving about it. I think Eric even liked it. I don't know anyone that just didn't like this book. Um, I
Now this is funny. He brings up art on the other book. This is to me it's the same equal art as the one we just reviewed, Blood Tree.
Yeah, now Skip's not here, and I don't want to disrespect my boy Skip. Um, Skip is
You
a
don't have
massive
to.
fan of Justin Greenwood. I'm not understanding. I I don't
Indie
know.
Eric Langford.
Indie Eric liked Torrent. Um, so this is Torrent. This is another book I came in cold, and I only read this book because everyone else was reading it and talking about it, and I was like, hey, why don't we just cover it? You know, because people are talking about how they liked it, but no one's actually talking about the book itself. So I had no idea what it was like going in. Um,
We talked about it on our channel.
did you? Oh, I must have missed it.
Yeah, it was
So
right
this,
after you started saying I was a crappy show. Went to your
I,
answer your
oh,
view.
I didn't say it was a crappy show. I said something like I'm gonna turn that crap off right now. I meant it as like
That
a
crap.
throwaway,
I
not
know.
like it was literal crap, but like, um, yeah. Um,
I don't blame you. I turned us off too.
I was only turning it off because I was trying to record my show. I couldn't have you in the background while I was recording.
You could have. They'd have alternative watch.
You guys might strike my channel. I couldn't have that. Um, so
Yes, because we want to get that money.
this is an interesting book that had me up and down. I didn't like it where it started, but it really won me over by the end. Eric says sometimes when art doesn't look great at first glance, it gets better as you read the book. Hopefully, Blood Tree does that for me. Yeah, good point. I do think this art slightly better than Blood Tree.
Well, Blood Tree did that for me exactly. What you're describing. When I first saw the art, I was like, "This is horrendous." But then I started reading the story, and I just like, "What art?" I was more
Yeah,
focused on the story itself.
it's not a book that relies on the art. Yeah. Um. So this book, look, I'm pretty picky, and I have certain things that bother me.
I'm
Some of
shocked.
the you're shy. I know you don't know this about me, RDV, but I'm not a real big fan of like the tough masculine women. Um, just like super badasses. And this whole way this starts off, it's like I was supposed to be at a PTA meeting tonight. I volunteered to bring snacks. Everyone just loves my blueberry muffins. But if you want to know the truth, I just buy them at Morelia's and stick them in my own Tupperware. I know, I'm a monster." And I read that and I was like, "What the hell am I reading?" I'm like,
I don't know, but yeah, it's another 4 issue thing.
but, I kept reading it, and, then I was like, "Okay, cool, it's a superhero book." I had no idea what this was, and, it feels a little this is very modern, where the characters are, like, talking, like, quipping. It's got that
Well,
Bendis era quippiness, like,
it's like Guggenheim creepiness. What I like about Guggenheim. If
well,
you
he's
read
not
his
the he's not the
Seven
only one
Cross,
that does that. Bendis does that, a lot lots of people try to do this, um, which, okay, whatever, it's a style. Um, so we it just opens up with a fight, which is a good way to open a superhero book like up. Um, we get the main character, which is this girl. Her name's like Cracker Jack, I think. Cracker Jack something. What's her name? It's not. Yeah, Cracker Jack. It's
yeah,
not good. It's not good when you can't
yeah.
remember the hero's name. But
Michelle's Metcalf is the girl, is the actual woman, but her name was called Cracker Jack.
um, and she's got this wannabe sidekick named Slipstream, and they fight these guys robbing an armored car, and they get some banter, and she's like, "But I'm your sidekick." "You're not my sidekick." And the beginning part of the book did feel really generic to me. It just really felt like I've seen this before. It's
Well, sure.
something.
I think it's implied to be that way. Like, there's a guy who wants to be the sidekick, and she doesn't want to be a sidekick. I work alone.
Yeah,
And but it doesn't. But it goes the opposite the way you think it's gonna go.
right. I'm gonna get to that because it does. Um, then the sidekick kid gets shot in the knee from the villain who's not down, and she finishes him off or whatever, and she takes him back to her headquarters, and she's got some super spray stuff or whatever. It heals him up. Um, it's very, I don't want
She's
to
a
say like
scientist. She creates her own. She creates her own tech. So
no,
something that
no,
she
she
can learn.
doesn't. Her, her husband does. At least that's what she says.
Yeah.
Um, so we learn that she's got a husband and a son, and but the fact that she took him here is kind of her opening up to this kid. And about the midway through the book, I started to feel like I was like, man, this is starting to feel almost a little bit like Invincible. It has that same kind of style that Invincible had, where it's a superhero book, but it's a little off color the way, not like DC and Marvel.
Mhm.
And so I like that. Um so she's mild mannered mother by night, superhero by day. I don't know what that is. Um
Part
and
time. Part time superhero.
part so
She may agree with her. She may agree with her husband. He
so
makes tags.
the kid is hit some he did good at baseball or whatever. So they're celebrating around the table. Um man, that
Yeah. That stupid kid that's supposed to, like, because he entered, she gave him the spray, and she said, "Now, it's gonna take. You can't go out and do anything. Stay off." And like, you're not healed. You may feel like you're healed, but he's like, "Oh, he's being a kid, stupid kid he is." He goes out, and yeah. So after all this, and yeah, seeing that left panel, he kind of looks like our Captain Riker. But
yeah, it kind of does
basically,
actually.
yeah, basically, they're saying they have a rolling relationship, and stuff. He accepts. It's kind of like the Jessica Drew thing story, except that
The
he's actually the father of the kid. You
the
know.
tough thing for me about this book, and this is me, I don't like gender reversals. I don't like seeing the feminine man and the masculine woman. And you get a little bit of that flavor here. She's obviously the tough guy. He's the the emotional support thing. She's the initiator when it comes to even like relations. But whatever, that's minor part of the book. Now the kid, when he was getting fixed up by her super tech stuff, she had mentioned to him like stay off the knee for 48 hours. And he's like, but it feels fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, I said it's enhanced healing. It means instead of 48 days, it's 48 hours. Like you got to stay off it. She's like really insistent. And this is the part where the book got really cool. Like what I was really appreciating. So we see the kid and he's a kid. And I was just like in my head, I was screaming. Like I was like, I can't wait to talk about this book because this is one of the things that I hate about kids superheroes. Kids would not be superheroes. Kids superheroes would be like this kid because they don't listen. They don't have wisdom, experience. They lack maturity. They go off and they just do their own thing. Now in a closed environment where they can't really hurt themselves that bad, that's not that big of a deal. But when you're dealing with super criminals who can kill you, that's a big problem. And of course, he's running on his knee. He's not supposed to. Comes across a robbery, and he's like, "Oh, what? I'm gonna stop this!" And he initiates a fight, and he's running, and then his knee gives out. And I'm just like, "This is what would happen. This is why we would not have teen superheroes because they would constantly screw up and get themselves killed." Um, Now he doesn't get himself killed because the villain isn't a total jackass idiot as well. Like the villain, if you're a real supervillain, it's probably because you know what you're doing. Like, and I like that. So the villain captures him and then tortures him. Why does he torture him? So he can
'Cause it's
figure
fun.
out who Cracker Jack
Yeah.
is.
He brings him back and his boss, because they work for it. They'll get like a Lex Luthor type, arch. It's no.
Yeah.
All right, you tell me who this person is, and they interrogate him, and he finally squeals.
Right? Because a kid would.
Yeah,
He's not gonna,
yeah.
right? And so he gives it up.
He's not. He ain't no Jason Todd.
Right. He would give it up. So he gives up the name. This is the arch nemesis. And we cut back to mom. Now, here's another thing. This is why moms wouldn't be superheroes. This would be the problem. Your kid would constantly be in danger. You would know this. Your maternal instincts would kick in. But at least the comic book knows this. And so they're sitting around having dinner, and all of a sudden, a bunch of bad guys crash through. They kidnap the son. She freaks out. Like, well, it doesn't freak out. She instantly goes into action, maternal instincts, and you can imagine a mother with superpowers like she's going to be a big threat. And as she goes to like save the son, the other ones grab the husband and send her a message. Miss Metcalf, our mutual friend wants you to see this. And points a gun, incinerates him. She's just like, no, Victor, I'll do whatever you blam. And then shock sets in. And I just really appreciate it. It started off as this felt like almost like a cookie cutter, kind of like roll my eyes. I'm like, oh, I read this in Marvel a bunch of times. And by the time the end of the book was, I was like, oh, you got my attention. Like
Yep.
you have something more to say. Um and
I say they failed for me when they put on Wham down there, and I wanted to see like George Michael on the next page. Like me, oh, before you go,
that would
go.
have made the book 5 stars. But as it is, only 4. No, just kidding. So it cuts to black. She's knocked out. We hear this beep, 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 beep. She's like, coming to. And of
What do you mean
course,
cut the black? That's because she looks black.
no, it cuts to black. Where's Wham? She gets knocked out.
No.
Um, and so she
Hey,
wakes
skip.
up and there's a bomb. And she's like, oh, no, no. So she ducks out just in time. Boom! Her house blows up. And she thinks to herself, and this is another thing I like too, thought balloons. Characters with thought balloons. I love that. Let's bring back thought balloons, please. Kill Squad. That crack about our mutual friend. There were ways to hide behind the. Wait, there were ways to hide who's behind this. That he didn't bother means he wanted me to know. It was a nice piece of work, Skeleton. Skeleton is the bad guy. You shouldn't have signed this. That's why we see her look, and she's all revenge. So this book has my attention. I'm not completely sold because I have some caveats that I've talked about already here. But if you don't share those, um, this might be a winner for you. What more do you got to say about this, RDB?
It's Mark Guggenheim. I don't need anything else to say. Guy's on fire,
Well,
man.
what if people don't know Mark Guggenheim?
Then they
Per-
should know Mark Guggenheim. Go pick up Seven Cross, Too Dead to Die. And after seeing the comedy on that, then you'll see this. You can tell that Guggenheim is a fantastic writer. Also, I want to say I agree with Eric that the husband isn't subservient. He's supportive.
like a good wife.
No, like a good spouse, someone who loves her.
Right. I'm just saying he was a little beta. Anyway, so that's obviously that's going to be the case. If you're a guy and your woman can bench press you and she's a superhero, like you're gonna be, it's gonna be the natural way. Like that's why Steve Trevor is always gonna appear, kind of.
Austin P. You can just Google that name, and maybe you'll figure it out. We're talking about a Mark Guggenheim book.
He's RDV's only discovered Mark Guggenheim recently. Now he acts like he's his biggest fan for decades.
I have been since I was born. I was born with a Mark Guggenheim comic book in
Jeez.
my hand. My
Skip is
first
in the
words were
house.
Wolverine
Salutations,
Guggenheim.
Skip. Um,
Yeah,
Ash wanted him to beat the wife. No, I didn't. I'm simply saying I don't enjoy the role reversals. If other people do, then you're gonna like this more than me. Um,
I want to be a stay-at-home dad. Okay, what's wrong with
Fair
that?
enough. It's a free world, like well, it's supposed to be at least.
Yeah,
Um, Physical strength doesn't designate beta and alpha. It's more mentality than physicality. You're correct. You're correct. But the way that this book is written, she's written with a very masculine kind of side, which is
well,
whatever.
to
I'm
him with
just observing.
misogyny,
I don't
toxic
think I'm
misogyny for
not saying the
dealing.
book is woke. I don't feel like it is, but I do feel like it has. And you know what? This has been true of any of the case when if you've got like I said, uh, if you are in the protector role, that's typically more of the husband role is the protector of the family. Um, it's if you're dominant, it makes your personality is going to be more the dominant personality. Like I don't want to get into all that really. I was just trying to give you people my perspective of what my takes. I'm not trying to tell anyone else how they should feel.
You
Just
should.
how I observed. Ash's pro domestic abuse confirmed. Yikes. Well, I'm very curious. Like the husband's dead, so I don't even have to worry about him anymore. Um, this is all gonna be about yeah, Marani, that's exactly. It's gonna be about Mama Bear. This is gonna be a story about Mama Bear, who is from the way that this book is written, it sounds like she's like one of, if not the premier superhero of this world. So yeah, it's gonna be yeah, like Lex Luthor messed with the wrong uh person. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, it got my attention. I think this is a worthy book. Um, I'm not gonna drool all over it and pretend that it didn't have anything that disaffect, that I was. Um, but I think
Skip masculine, but made her man a sandwich. Eat that sandwich, bitch.
did she
She
make him a
forced him.
sandwich?
Yeah.
Because I got a thing for women that make you sandwiches. No, no, she made chicken a la king from a can. She didn't even. She just heated it up from a can. Nope. Sorry. That's what men do. Men open up a can and microwave it.
Some people you just can't please them.
If you would have made a sandwich, I would change because I have a thing for sandwiches. You ran out of drool while you were slurping. Ryan Johnson says Breen. Ah, oh my goodness. Anyways, I'm trying to be positive about this book, but anything more to say? Even when I try to be positive, they don't let me off the hook.
I mean, be positive. I leave it from start to end. It's one of those books that
Well, we
man,
know you're a big Guggenheim fanboy. Apparently, guy can do no wrong.
Guggenheim proves again why he's a good writer. You
I'm
know,
not. I don't know
uh,
much about Guggenheim stuff, so
he draws a woman with an ass from the very beginning. We get some cheesecake. We get her kicking ass.
oh, that's Justin Greenwood. Justin Greenwood drew the ass.
Yeah, but he got Justin Greenwood on the book. He could have had anybody. I'm glad it wasn't chicken.
He could have had anybody. That's correct.
Uh, like I said, now this is how you draw a black superhero without making it just woke. That's another thing I'm glad for because and everybody has to like write as representation make everything woke if it comes to characters that aren't white. Lily,
By the way, our boy Skip is dropping his buddy in the chat right now. Apparently, he's got all 5 issues, and he's gonna read them this weekend.
there's 5 issues. Okay, all right, cool, all right,
So
uh, yeah.
the rest of us mere mortals will have to read this in real time, or
Yeah,
Skip will
right,
just be
right,
like, "Oh,
yeah,
I read those 4 months ago."
right. Yeah,
uh,
right now they only list 4 issues. So if there's a fifth one, that must be coming out after the trade comes out in September. Probably come out next year. There's
someone
issue
mentioned
5.
someone in the chat mentioned that there was a bit of what was the name of that book? Now I'm drawing a blank.
It's weird though how they list one. So the okay. So Skip's saying there's 5. Okay, that confirms my theory now because Blood Tree said 1 through 6, but that was a description for the trade. But it only shows 1 through 4. Now Torrent, you look at the trade advertised on League of Comic Geeks, says 1 through 5, but there's only 4 listed in collected reprints, 4 issues.
Eric is the one
So
that
I
said
don't know.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
different books are different though. Like you can't not. Some books are 4 issues, some books are
Well, no,
five
I'm
issues.
saying I'm saying League of Comic Geeks was doing this with Blood Tree. Says collects to trade collects, Blood Tree 1 through 6, but they advertise on their site 1 through 4, and then they advertise the trade coming out later on. So it's really weird how he's saying there's 5 issues. While this I go to the versus the trade coming out in September, it says Torrent 1 through 5 on the top description, but when you scroll down, it usually says collects shows torrents 1 through 4. So yeah, it's kind of weird how they list it.
Where does
If
it
there's
say
gonna
it
be
collects
5 issues,
torrents 1 through 4?
if you go on torrent, look up torrent volume 1, trade paperback. Uh,
It says
at
collects
the
one
very
through
bottom,
five.
look at the bottom part where it says collects reprints 4 issues.
It says collects torrents 1 through 5.
Are you scroll down past the writer, the bottom?
I'm reading the description where it says collects torrents 1 through 5.
Yeah. We'll go down further. Scroll down underneath it.
Okay,
Where you
so
have the
this is because only 4 issues have been solicited.
Yeah, it's so weird. Does this say 5 issues? Does this say don't even
No, it's
list
just
one?
saying it collects these issues, but it can't show issue 5 because issue 5's not in the system yet.
I know. So why even list the? As I'm saying, why list the volume of the trade? That's
Because
just so weird.
trades now come out so fast after the books. They're actually soliciting the trades before the books are even done soliciting. So the volume 1 trade is being solicited before issue 5 is even being solicited,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's
just
screwing
weird.
up.
Like, yeah.
Sure, if you don't know that, then it's gonna be weird. I
So
would just
so
I would
uh,
go with the I would just go with the description because you gotta remember, League of Comic Geeks, all they do is they take the information that's given to
yeah.
them.
So that by that but that so okay, so by this means then that Blood Tree is a 6 issue thing, not four, like we thought. Because you go to the trade for the other one for Blood Tree, it's collects 1 through 6 in the description. So that's good. It's not a 4 issue miniseries. Six.
Alright, cool. Also, to a point that, we were having a discussion with Skip the other night about
Is this when he was awake?
he might have been half awake.
Okay.
Apparently, because here we go, 9.99 torrent trade. So Image still is doing 9.99 trades, just apparently not always. So
Yeah.
some are 9.99. Apparently, I'm gonna guess it's probably up to the creators. But so torrent, yeah, there's another good option there. It's listed as 9.99. But
Shadow. Yeah.
conversely,
Shadow.
Blood Tree is still being solicited for 16.99.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
So it is a little bit. It's 6 issues versus 5 issues. Who knows? Skip
That's
gets the whole
like
run because of his name. He skips the waiting time. Nice. Now he Skip knows people, so that's that's part of why.
he's running some kind of racket down there. His real job, he runs a casino.
So Skip is saying that issue 5 wasn't finalized when they posted it to Comic Geek. Comic Geek League of Comic Geeks just takes the diamond solicitations. So if it's solicited in diamond, it'll be here, and if they don't have a cover, it'll just be like a gray space saying cover coming soon or something. So you can see here issue number 4, there's no next because League of Comic Geeks doesn't have a solicitation to pull from, which would be diamond since it's Image. Um, and that's all that is. They don't get the image. They don't get the info directly. Like the publishers don't tell. They're more of a proactive. They go and pull the information, and you can actually be a contributor. Users of League of Comic Geeks can submit info. So if you have like if they have a thing where it's like we don't have the cover yet, but you have the cover picture, you can submit it to them. So, anyway, that's says Skip says, "Yep, I like the creators, especially when they are millionaires like Guggenheim. Oh, I didn't know Guggenheim was a millionaire who just does comics because he loves it. Well, that's cool. I do like when comic creators can work off the passion of it and not just
Feel
when it
forced.
just turns to be a job.
Yep.
Like I don't, no one likes to read jobbers. They never do a good job. Um, I think that's why I like some of the greats like Jeff Johns. Right? Dude's got like a TV and movie production company. He doesn't need to
He's
write comic books, but he
he has
does
a
because he
passion.
loves it. Or Mark
Yeah.
Millar. He's got like a he's dude. That dude has got he's multi-millionaire. Sold his company to Netflix. Stayed on as like the CEO of Miller World. He's so he's collecting a fat paycheck. He's just developing TV and movies stuff over at Netflix. He only writes comics because he likes comics. He doesn't make any money off that, and I think that's awesome. I love those guys. So cool. Thanks for pointing that out. All right. Anything else, Mr. V?
Mr. V, they don't talk about the new books. Are you too tired?
I'm not too tired. Trying to.
We should play our little game where we go row by row and see which books You like the best.
I do want to say, Mr. Greenwood, this picture. I gotta put it back on the screen. I'm not as big of a Justin Greenwood fan as our boy Skip here, but this is a very Frank Miller reminiscent illustration that makes me go, I could become a fan of yours, Mr. Greenwood. I like this. So, this is the cover to the trade, I believe. Uh, so,
Yep.
so yeah, and maybe,
She looks
maybe,
like a zombie.
maybe
The blood from her
conversely,
mouth.
our boy Skip will become a Frank Miller fan. Wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that be
I,
interesting?
I don't think he hates himself that much.
All good comic book fans like Frank Miller.
Yeah, back when he wrote Daredevil.
And Sin City
Yeah,
and 300.
yeah.
And Ronin 2, baby. Yeah, me and Skip are the Ronin 2
You
fans.
know what's better than all three of those? Samurai Dog.
Samurai Doggy. One of the best books on the stands right now.
Issue
Ronnie says
four.
Ash just wants to torture me into picking the best of the worst books.
Issue four left me devastated. You need to read issue four of Samurai Doggy.
I do, and that's my next book I'm going to read.
Just when you think you know what's going to happen, you don't. It is
I
just
love, 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 love Samurai Doggy.
so much action and then just gore. It's just like, no.
It's so good, even RDV's reading it, and he used to mock me. But he
I'm
mocks
mocking you
me
now
no
that I read it
more.
before you. I read three issues, and you still haven't read the fourth. Samurai Doggy should be a video game, and then they should have a crossover with the Ninja Turtles.
No Ninja Turtle crossover. No. No. Why
In
would you?
in
Don't ruin a good thing.
Yosaki Yojimbo.
No, no. No. But now I'm discovering I might have to go seek these. I might have to channel my inner Skipintosh because Samurai Doggy #1 has got 3 variants. And I normally don't like to go for the variants and get them all, but like I might have to just because I'm a big fan. That's what you do when you're a fan, right, Skip? Oh, look at this. This is Spider-Man 300 homage. The most overdone homage cover of all time.
Done better.
I like this one. These would be hard to find, man. Unless you live in Skip's neck of the woods, he probably find these real easy. But Austin says, "How many Ninja Turtle crossovers are there already? Too many. That's how many.
Oh, hold on, let me look this up.
Too many." Although I have to admit, the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover, especially the third one, was fantastic. TMNT Batman 3, excellent.
They did like, I guess, yeah, there's four of them actually crossover because there's Batman Teenage Mutant Turtles Adventures.
Yeah, they did one crossover that was like with the animated,
Went for
and they
36
actually
issues.
and they actually did an actual animated uh
Or,
movie on it. So you can
or
you can
oh yeah,
I actually own
actually,
the movie. Um I don't like it
the
quite
game
as
done.
much as the 1 through 3, which is crossing over with the comic book version, but
Well, I take it back. There's not 30, 60 issues. There's just that many variants added on to like 6 issues. Jeez. There's oh my gosh, there's 6 issues with 30 variants.
Breen is crashing out. He says, "Have a great rest of your stream." Well, thank you, Breen, for making it through. Hopefully, we talked about 2 books you're interested in, and,
He said crashing out, Austin, not cashing out. But he'll cash you outside later. That's your jacket joke for the night. Let's here. Did that. Wow. You should try to find that how that 1986 version of How to Draw Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The How to Draw. Can't imagine how much that costs. Uh, there's a Lego Turtles. Heck,
there's Lego everything.
from the San Diego Comic Con event convention exclusive.
Austin says, "He literally said caching. Read, Vankman, read." That's right, Austin. You stand up to him. Don't let him bully you around. Stop being a bully, RDB.
Oh, did he really? Okay, my bad. He usually puts on crashing.
And
So,
Breen says, "Reading is hard."
well, usually I thought, dude, honestly, a lot of times you do typos. So, I'm also trying to answer his question. How many crossovers are there? I'm looking at this right now. Savage Dragon Ninja Turtles.
I also thought he said crashing, but I also didn't talk shit. Just saying. Just
Yeah, you did
saying.
earlier though.
When did I?
Yeah, about the whole what's your name sandwich thing. Torrent.
I wasn't talking shit. I was actually gonna change my mind. I was like, "What? She made a sandwich? Oh, I changed my mind." Like, if a woman makes a man a sandwich, man, then she's gold.
How much does the sandwich redeem you? Redeem a woman in your eyes.
Uh, hundred
Oh,
percent. Like,
she murdered my family and cheated on
but
me,
she
but
made
she
me a
made me a
sandwich,
sandwich.
so it's all good.
That was one damn good sandwich.
Austin says he's going through the How to Draw Comics the Marvel way right now. Hopefully, I actually finish the course this time. Is it the original one? Like, from when did they do that? In the 80s? That's a good one, Austin. That will teach you. What it'll do is, first of all, it'll teach you how to draw comics the way they should be, superhero books at least, the way they should be, the Marvel way, and it'll also make you realize just how bad Marvel is today. You'll be like, man, um,
So
that's good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So if we count the Batman Ninja Turtles, that's we count all three of those as one crossover. Even though there's like three of them. I call that as yeah. So there's Batman, Savage Dragon, Power Rangers. Let's see what else they did. I know they did with Ghostbusters.